Hey everybody, this is Texas Danny coming to you from very late September 2025, around the 27th Saturday, September 2025 in the evening here. And just kind of want to go over a couple of things on the Google Earth that I've been watching lately, taking a look at and getting ideas about as we go along. Things have been relatively slow as of late compared to when I first started noticing these things in 2016 after I quantum jumped. To those of you who are residents here of this Earth plane reality, right? There are some of us who are from the quantum effect, also known as the Mandela effect, worldwide, whose minds, personalities, spirits, egos, being, whatever, inner being, whatever you can call it, came to this earth reality, which is different from our own. For example, the earth reality I came from, we had an area up on the far north of the globe that was known as Antarctica, and it was a solid ice mass. It wasn't just sea ice or pack ice, or as you see Greenland here, though Greenland would be representative of the solid white mass that we had up there, but far bigger than just Greenland alone. Greenland itself would have been situated further south than it is here now. Life Matrix from California, who has a channel, Life Matrix, who in the early days was involved in covering the Mandela effect, was one of the first persons to notice that Greenland, from his prior reality, had moved further north. Greenland, as a matter of fact, would have been exactly about the length of its entire length further south, with this point here being about this point here in relations to the Arctic, what we call Antarctica, right? And the Greenland would have been completely iced over, like much as it is now, but even more so with the far north head of Greenland immersed in the Antarctica ice pack. There would have been no Svalbard here in this area, because it would have been completely iced over. As well, just for recollection purposes also, I lived in a reality where we had no Andorra. We didn't have anything between Spain and France. We had no Andorra. It also was been mentioned by another name as of a quantum traveler, interdimensional traveler from coming from Taurid. It's been referred to as Taurid as well, as an alternate spot where Andorra is now. But the reality I came in from, we had no Andorra. And Earth was bigger, much bigger. Again, imagine the north here, all around, being an ice-packed North Antarctica, all with Norway and Sweden very much iced, and Finland very much iced over. Bigger, portrayed as bigger also as well. The maps and stuff like that being a little bit different, things being spread out more. As I'm spreading this out like this is how I think the Earth would. It's just like an inflatable sphere. if you could blow it up with air, the Earth I was on was bigger than this Earth, even though the measurements would have been comparable. For example, roughly, now I can't quote you exactly, but the Earth would have been roughly comparable in the statistical numbers. For example, Earth diameter and everything else like that, even though it was clearly bigger. And we had, like Baja California and the Gulf of California right here. Baja California was shorter, about half the length that it is here. Take away, for example, take away this large spur here and cut the width of Baja California about 2/3. It was about 75 miles wide and about 350 miles long, or 400 miles long. This Baja California here is about 750 miles long. And the Gulf of California has been substantially getting bigger and bigger here in this reality at the cost of the west coast of Mexico. A lot of the west coast of Mexico has disappeared, and Mexico has become smaller and narrower. With the Yucatan Peninsula used to be right in here to the south, like with a broad kind of a northwest to southwest angle. And the Yucatan Peninsula used to be right in this area here instead of the area that it's in now. And the area it's in now, it's swinging. First of all, it's substantially smaller, much, much further east than it used to be, just like South America, and closer to Cuba than it was, much closer to Cuba than it was. And again, though, now it's dipping to the south, going south on the map. And Cuba is bigger here in this reality. The island itself, right? But the island used to run a more west to east attitude, and it's now dipped northwest to southeast, swinging this way, because the tracks are coming out of the Gulf, here in the Gulf, and the second track I call the Honduras tract, that leads out Jamaica, out to Puerto Rico, and eventually out to the last tract I call is the Barbados tract. And the Barbados tract is leading South America much closer to Africa. And Africa is swinging down lower. Her southern areas are swinging down lower and pivoting over closer to South America. So we are still closing the gap, slowly but surely, closing the gap between South America and Africa. We also have the Mediterranean closing, becoming smaller, as we are having the Caspian Sea become smaller and shallower, and changing the southern end of it has receded, and we've had some declination issues around Iran, northern Iran there, and we've had changes with the terrain and so forth like that going, because I think we have retrocausality happening as we have changes to Turkey. Turkey used to be, as you see here how I've got it orientated. Let me show you here. As I've got it orientated east to west, right? Over time, it's dipped down going southwest, okay? And we've had terrain changes going to Gobi Tepe, Adana. Adana did not exist for me in my reality. Adana was not here in this part of Turkey. This was coastline, but this was a lot shallower. I also was stationed in the U.S. Army in Turkey, at Sinop, Turkey, right? Where the peninsula, the entire thing was much further over west than it is here now. It's about 75 miles further east now. And the one trip I took in Turkey was to go to dinner on a sour stomach, a mistake I made. I went to dinner in that reality to Samsun, Turkey, and we took the coastline route, and I had a bad stomach that night, and I shouldn't have went with the trip, but I looked at the map that we had a map of Turkey in our post station, and of course there was this large area right here did not exist. That's in the ocean along the Turkish coast, and again, the peninsula I was on was roughly shaped like this, without this large area off to the west of it. It did not exist. The peninsula was much closer to the main body of the country, and it just stuck out a little bit, and it was not there. But we have Turkey going down, pointing southeast, because we have we've got the excuse me, I'm sorry. We've got the Turkey, because we've got the Mediterranean getting smaller. We've had Italy move. We've had Crete get closer, much closer to Africa. Crete's got much closer to Africa, but it's got subterranean features similar below the Aegean, as similar to what we have with the Caspian mountain ranges. Okay, and that's a mechanism, right, for closing. We have the whole area here getting smaller and smaller. And we have the Saudi Peninsula going down, okay, and changing the surface area there. The Saudi Peninsula is also going down. And I think we have some changes to the Sahara happening as well, okay? We had, in my reality, we had Antarctica as well. We did have Antarctica, but it was much bigger. It was much bigger. Antarctica was much bigger, and it was further out. This peninsula that you see here, that's below South America, was actually below Africa. And Antarctica was much closer to Africa than it is here. It was only about 700, 800 miles south of South Africa. You had a good wide gap there, but you had rough seas in South Africa because the Antarctica was so close to it up there. But we have more and more changes happening. We have this area here coming off of Chile that is going east with the continent. The continents basically are moving east. They're moving east, and they're going out as well. And we have some changes that are happening to the oceans, the subterranean and the subaquatic. And these are affecting the ocean floors. The Colorado River Basin, okay, that's why we're having an impact in Las Vegas, for example, is because We have changes to the subterranean aspects of our rivers and stuff like that are occurring and are shallowing out. And so there's going to be some water supply issues. And just like we have the Gulf, we have the issues, the subaquatic issues with the Gulf, and they're going to affect states like Texas and Louisiana and Florida and Mississippi and Alabama and the Mexican states all through here. Again, Yucatan is going out further to the south, and there are changes there. But we have numerous changes worldwide. They're slow but sure. We have Indonesia tightening up. We have New Zealand moving slightly. New Zealand is moving slightly. And we have changes up around India and China and all these areas. There is lots happening. The earth has not stopped. She is still moving in changes to the rest of the earth, quantum changes and at quantum speeds. Okay, Texas Danny out. Thank you for the listen.